Uh-oh. Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes.
Uh-oh. I love mangoes too.
99 cents. Okay. Now that we are up under a Biden's regime, my bag of mangoes now costs $11.99.
That seems like a pretty good deal. A bag of mangoes? Aren't mangoes like $3 each? That's it. I want what, $8 or $11. That sounds good.
The American people will lie. And highway robbery is what you're doing. Bring my mangoes back down. My bag of mangoes. My bag of mangoes.
Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes. Bring my mangoes back down. Raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Bring my mangoes back down.
The Wisconsin crowd identified with the mangoes too.
Disproportionately affected the American people. Those who want me to be healthy, healthy. Those who want me to be healthy. It's highway robbery is what you're doing. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit.
Mangoes?
Trump was doing this with his personal toilet.
But sinks, toilets, and showers.
Elements in bathrooms.
10 times, 15 times.
Elements in bathrooms.
We're looking very strongly at sinks and showers.
Elements in bathrooms.
10 times, 15 times.
Elements in bathrooms.
What on earth is going on with Trump and toilets? Trump's White House toilet would be clogged with documents that Donald Trump was flushing down the toilet. Is this the explanation? Is this the explanation?
Big massive dumps.
Elements in bathrooms.
10 times, 15
Trump was doing
times.
this with his personal toilet.
Elements in bathrooms.
And showers.
Big massive dumps.
Elements in bathrooms.
Duty. 10 times, 15 times. Not me,
Elements in bathrooms.
God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
Elements in bathrooms.
Welcome, everybody. We are back from, well, I mean, I'm here. Back from what is kind of a vague statement, but we are going to hear from Joe Biden. That I can tell you for sure. This will be a speech in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Joe Biden is expected to address the MAGA movement and the threat it presents to democracy. As you can see, there is bulletproof glass that has been placed around where the president will be speaking. A red carpet has literally and metaphorically been laid out for Joe Biden. And this is going to be quite a speech. We have an extraordinary situation in the United States of America right now, where on the one hand, we have an election that by all historical assessments, Republicans should do very well in. And yet they are continuing to falter more and more in the polls. That being said, they likely would still end up taking the House, but Democrats will likely keep the Senate. But legislative accomplishment after legislative accomplishment has stacked up for Joe Biden, as it is as it is increasingly looking as though the failed former president, Donald Trump, is going to be indicted for, light espionage and a variety of other different alleged crimes. And so this revitalization of Biden now has him out on the campaign trail with Democrats running in November, as well as tonight issuing a primetime national address, which I am very much looking forward to. Joe Biden has brought the energy lately, and we will see what happens tonight. But we have so many other things to go over. So this speech coverage starting on most networks in 7 minutes and the speech at 8 p.m. as far as I know right now. We have so many things to go over, and we are going to do that. Now, some of you may be saying, David, why does that thing above your head already say 8? You just started the stream. Well, 8 great people, including our friend Lars Barenroth, known as Deeper Shades of House on Twitch, have been re-upping and upping, I guess we would say, their Twitch Prime subscriptions. I also want to say a huge thank you to Adam Gingrich and Jason Sickmeyer, who between the two of them just gifted 3 subscriptions on my website, putting us at 11. Folks, the coupon code is Indict. We all know what it means. With Obamagate, we didn't know what it meant. What the hell is Obamagate? I don't know. With the coupon code Indict, we know exactly what it means. Exactly what it means. Here is a body double for Joseph R. Biden Jr., more sweaty than Biden typically is, but okay, it is what it is. I also want to say thank you to S. Prez, as well as Lackluster Nerd and Jen here for, between the 3 of them, contributing 22 subscriptions. 20 of them are from S. Prez, immediately putting us at 33. And thanks to Badness for the Twitch Prime subscription as well. Folks, let's get right into the content. Rusty says, David, I hope fatherhood is treating you well. I recently met an Argentinian woman that agreed to let me cook for her. What culturally appropriate dish should I make for her? Your hair advice helped. Yeah, sure. Listen, I would make her some homemade empanadas, maybe beef and black olive empanadas, and I don't know what else. Maybe milanesa. Milanesa is arguably my favorite Argentinian dish, which really is an appropriated Italian dish. I mean, let's all be completely honest here. You know, I'm not looking to take credit for things that don't belong to me. That's for damn sure. Thanks to Jeff in Boston for gifting 5 subscriptions, and also because of Tiger Girl and Tooge, it puts us already at 41. Folks, let's go through a couple different things. Jamie Foxx, it turns out, does an incredible Donald Trump impression, and it's so good that I thought that this was dubbed. I thought this was fake. Check out how good this is.
There's a lot of great people on both sides. Lots of great people on both sides. I know Harry, he's a great person. He couldn't vote for me at the time. Now he can vote for me once he gets out. I love Snoop D.O. Double G, great person.
So do you love Death Row Records?
I love
People on
Death
both
Row.
sides.
I love Death. Excuse me. Fake news. I love Death Row.
What's your favorite Death Row record, Mr. Trump?
All of them. All of the Death Row records. Don't try to pin me down. I see what he just... Excuse me.
Fake news.
Excuse me.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Look out for
They
you.
tried to give me the virus. I beat the virus. I said they tried to give me the virus. Like, who is they? And the motherfucker said, I beat the virus. They were like, fuck you. He beat it. Motherfucking Trump, boy.
Man, that is really, really good stuff. Like, that is really, really, really good. So there's Jamie Foxx dropping some knowledge on all of us. Yeah, I mean, that's funny. Honestly, that's funnier than anything I've seen on SNL probably for years at this point. Okay, let's continue. I have other things for you. Donald Trump called into the John Fredericks radio show. This is so damn funny. What are these shows? I have no idea. What is Real America's Voice? We cover clips from Real America's Voice. I couldn't tell you, is it a cable channel? I don't think it's a YouTube channel. I looked on YouTube. They don't seem... What are these shows that Donald Trump is calling into? Anyway, here he says everything was declassified, which is a complete distraction. It's nothing. I mean, that's not a thing. It's not... I declassified everything isn't a thing, but that's what Trump's going with now.
I mean, you look at this and you look at what they spread out on the floor. Did you?
By the way, the echo. I mean, it's not even like these are really well-produced shows that I haven't heard of. What is this?
Were you actually packing these boxes and shipping them in your car to Mar-a-Lago? How did they get there?
So what you do is you accumulate a lot of stuff over a term, and then all of a sudden you're leaving, and stuff gets packed up and sent.
Right.
All sorts of stuff. Mostly the boxes, pictures and newspapers and shirts and gear.
I like that, gear. What exactly counts as gear? Does anybody know what the hell gear is? All of a sudden it's time to leave and he has all this gear and shirts. Trump seems like the guy who, the free shirt that the energy drink people give you? He would keep it as a memorabilia of some kind.
And, golf balls and it's a lot of stuff.
Golf balls?
You know, when you're there for 4 years, it's a long time, and it's a lot of stuff. And they sent down by, I believe it was sent down by GSA, the government.
Now, Trump's not even, everything is crazy because the answer doesn't really make any sense. He's also not saying whether he packed it and picked the things. Like, that's the crux of the question. Who packed this stuff up and decided these are the documents you're taking? And he's talking about gear and golf balls.
And you know, the other thing, just to show you that secret, there was no secret. Did you see the pictures? They were standing outside of the White House, literally on the sidewalk, waiting for trucks to come in to take it. In other words, it's not like this was some sinister plot. They have pictures of guys standing outside. The box is literally outside. The sun is pouring down, and they're waiting for a truck.
Right.
And then they have pictures putting them on the truck. There's nothing
The sun is pouring down like liquid.
secret about it. There didn't have to be anything secret. And all declassified. But when you look at what they've done, and you look at even something like this, when you look at what they're doing to our country, it's hard to believe.
Yeah. Making making a lot of sense there for sure. If in case any of you are looking for something to do, apparently Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens are doing a tour. It's free. It's free to go. This is the fall tour, and they're going to be speaking at the University of Delaware, the University of Texas at Austin, Michigan State, North Dakota State, University of Missouri, Florida State University, and the University of North Carolina. It's the Exposing Critical Racism Tour. And as you can see, it is really a party. It is really, really, really a party. So if anybody's interested in that, and yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's much else to say about it. Here's Alex Berenson, the wrongest man in the world on the pandemic. He was on Joe Rogan, and he seems to think Biden wants him banned from Twitter or something.
I've now been publishing documents that show that the White House wanted me banned. And that is the biggest part of all of this. Okay,
Right.
That's where the story is going now. That people inside the White House, this is Twitter employees talking to each other about a meeting that they had in April of 2021 before Twitter had ever done anything to me.
Right.
Where they said that the White House said, why is this guy still allowed to tweet?
Right.
And at that time, they were saying to each other, these Twitter employees, we think he's fine. We don't think he's doing anything wrong. Well, you fast forward to July of 2021, just over a year ago, and Joe Biden says the vaccine, anybody who debates the vaccines, if social media platforms allow that, they are quote unquote killing people. And then less or barely a month
Man, everybody's just focused on Alex Berenson, if you believe this. Twitter employees are all about Alex Berenson. Biden's going around the White House going, Alex Berenson must not be allowed to debate vaccines on Twitter. Like, that's totally plausible, guys.
After that, 4 hours after that, I should say, Twitter puts a strike against me. They begin the process of deplatforming me.
Right.
6 weeks later, they deplatform me. So my position, and I'm going to sue, I've said I'm going to sue the White House, and I'm going to...
Guys, any day now, he's going to sue.
They said that my position is that that there are people inside the Biden administration who violated my rights as an American citizen, violated my First Amendment rights, tried to get Twitter to suppress me personally. Right. That's where this is going.
Wow. Wow. Absolutely mind-blowing stuff. Here's Diamond and Silk. My colleague John sent this to me. Apparently, Diamond and Silk lost it on their show. I don't know.
And make sure no one ever has an opportunity to steal an election again.
All right. Well, anyway, So that's going on.
Obama.
And then here is Grant Stinkfield saying Satan has taken over the Democratic leadership, I guess.
What President Trump is up against right now, especially this Mar-a-Lago raid and the people that orchestrated it, this is satanic in nature. And I don't say that lightly.
He wouldn't just call anything satanic lightly. He's really considered whether it's appropriate to call this satanic.
I do believe the people that are waging this war against President Trump really are evil to the core. These are not people that have what they believe is their best intention. Look, a guy like Bernie Sanders, I respect a guy like Bernie Sanders because I think he truly believes that he's being well-intentioned. He believes what he's pushing. I wildly disagree with him. I think everything he pushes is wrong, but at least he believes in what he's doing. When you look at the likes of Nancy Pelosi and you look at the likes of Joe Biden and the people pulling their strings, I'm not convinced they believe that what they're doing is best for the nation. In fact, it's just the opposite. I actually believe they're doing this on purpose. They're going after President Trump on purpose. They talk about disenfranchising voters with...
Anyway, I'm so bored with Stinkfield, but he believes that when he looks at Biden, he sees Satan there. That really takes something, huh? Michael says via super chat, David, sir, can we hear Trump mispronouncing names and words? I do have a whole section on my soundboard that includes that type of thing.
I've had more investigations than Jesse James, Billy the Could, a rhino named Mitt Romney, Mexico, and we've endorsed JP, right? J.D. Mandel. No more Dropbox. The Dropboxes. And take a look at the oranges of the investigation. Truth, Central, Covfefe, and the combat infantrymen advising lawmakers. If you care about law and order.
Law and Auto. That's still one of my favorites. Law and Auto. Man, that is something else.
Going to see some statistics coming out on when.
Yep.
Americans of all walks of life rose up.
Mm-hmm. There it is. And a classic also.
President Donald J. Trump.
Man, that is something else. And then I know there's Trump mispronouncing Indian names as well. Let me see if I have, because that is, oh, here it is.
Swami Vive Kamunand. Suchin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
Man, that guy was out of his mind. That is really something else. Jason says, look, we all know about Trump's gear. It's all uppers, half-eaten McDoubles, and classified documents. Exactly. And he eats all of them. That's all stuff that he's eating. All right. We are moments away from President Joe Biden addressing the nation to warn us, as if we need another warning, about the threats to democracy posed by the MAGA movement. I want to say thank you to Desiree DeLong and Adam Gingrich for gifting 2 subscriptions to 2 lucky people at joinpacman.com. Incredibly, the list of people waiting for a free membership swelled like Donald Trump's head to 1,100 people, and we've worked that down into the 800s thanks to some generous gifts. You can put your name on the list for a free membership at davidpacman.com/free membership. If you don't want to wait, and my recommendation is get a membership right now. You can go to joinpacman.com, use the coupon code INDICT. We all know why the coupon code is INDICT, okay? You go to joinpacman.com right now, and you can sign up. I want to say thanks to Heather and Gary Egan, who just got a membership on my website and are new members 44. We will run it all the way up to 100. Also over on Twitch, I want to say thank you to ASF Klops, Blueberry Babe, and Standardized Genie. 3 really great people. Oh, the Starbucks thing. Yeah, let me talk about the Starbucks thing. So I'm not actually joking about this, but if you already are a member, you would know this because I told this story on the bonus show.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money. Everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
Some of you may be aware that I had a 20-year streak of not going to Starbucks. It wasn't a corporate protest. I just think the coffee is trash, okay? I think it's Covfefe, whatever you want to say. I think it's terrible. And I patronize local coffee shops. Okay. A couple weeks ago, I was in Montreal. I used to say Montreal, and all of the Quebecois wrote to me and said, David, with tears in their eyes, they said, David, sir, please pronounce it correctly. It's Montreal. I was coming back from Montreal. I had, my daughter in the car, desperately needing a diaper change, and I needed to charge the car. And so I was restricted in where I was able to go, and I was tired. I was tired because it had just been a very, very long night. Okay. So my options around the charging station where I could walk were, it was like a Panera. Okay. And a Price Chopper or something like that, and a Starbucks. So I said, you know what? It's a matter of safety. I must be awake. I don't want to endanger my family with the highway driving. Plus, my car basically drives itself. So there's very little to do on the highway. And I said, I'm going to have to go and get a coffee at Starbucks. And I said, I'm going in with an open mind. It's been 20 years. It could be okay. I mean, it could be fine. So I went over and I ordered a small cappuccino. They were like, oh, that's called like a grande or so, who the hell knows? Venti, tall. I don't know. Anyway. And some people afterwards were like, well, David, that you've got it. The things that are good at Starbucks are XYZ, things that are 1,000 calories, right? No, I wanted a coffee, not a dessert, people. Okay. I wanted a coffee. So cappuccino is the perfect test. Can you steam the milk? And is the espresso okay? And it was absolute trash. I mean, it was absolutely horrifying. First of all, they hand me the cup. It's covered in coffee. The outside of the cup is covered in coffee. If you're a barista and you want to be taken seriously, have the common decency. If you spill coffee all over the outside of the cup, at least slide it into another cup, if not make it over again. You know what I mean? Like, let's have some respect here. And then I taste it and it's just garbage. The milk was completely scalded. I know many of you probably are aware of this. When in a cappuccino, this isn't like give me a hot black coffee where you want the stuff at 210 degrees Fahrenheit. In a cappuccino on my espresso machine, I'm selecting 142 degrees for the milk temperature. 142, And I know I may not have my machine very long.
We're doing a class action lawsuit against all machines. Over 54 countries have now been taken by the machines.
Right. So anyway, to the extent that I have my machine, I'm doing 142, maybe 144 degrees on the milk. If you go above 160, it's scalded. Okay. The milk was completely scalded. The espresso it's such a dark roast. It would probably ruin my espresso machine. It's so dark and oily. It was absolute garbage. I drank it because it was a matter of safety, ladies and gentlemen. It was a matter of safety. But I took 20 years off from Starbucks. I went back. It was garbage. And I'm just not doing it. I'm going back to my, third wave cafes and light and medium roasts and properly steamed milk. And also it was not even really foam. They just like ripped the crap out of it and it was too hot and it was just terrible. It was terrible. So anyway, for all the people who were saying, David, you give it another shot. It's good. It was terrible. All right, let's move on and never speak of it again, please. I'm hemorrhaging viewers due to this perspective. All right, I want to say thank you to Steve Turner. Steve Turner just did a patriotic thing and signed up for a membership on my website, joinpacman.com. Now, I'm going to preview something for you guys. Again, if you are a member and you have access to the bonus show.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money. Everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
You would already have seen this interview. Today, I interviewed a Republican so nuts, he was unendorsed by his own party. Let's look at a little bit of this interview. Today, we're going to be, and with permission, I'm going to play it back at 1.25 just so we can cover a little bit more of it. Speaking with Mike Cargile. Mike Cargile is running for Congress in California's 35th Congressional District. I believe, Mike, you're the only congressional candidate this cycle who has been unendorsed by the Republican Party. Is that a correct credential that you have?
Yes, actually, I am the only congressional candidate in the nation who's been unendorsed twice now by the Republican Party for being what they consider too conservative.
So give me was there communication? Did they tell you on what issues you're just too far to the right?
No, actually, they scrolled. A few weeks ago, they had an unendorsement meeting of their board of directors.
Yeah.
And they said, here, you've got 2 minutes to talk. And I said, talk about what? What do you want to talk about? And they said, well, watch this. And they rolled 4 minutes of memes off of Facebook that go all the way back to 2018. And I knew where this came from because this was how George Soros had attacked me in the last cycle.
Soros is going after you.
He has. And so the Republican Party is using the Soros playbook. He came after me.
I'm pretending like this guy's not criminally insane.
With Media Matters and Axios last time.
Would you say Soros has infiltrated the Republican establishment at this point?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So they came after me and tried to. Now, remember, back in 2020, this was the world of BLM riots and things like that. So
of course.
He had unearthed a conversation, a private conversation I had with a friend of mine about the prevalent use of the N-word in rap music. And I said, that's all. And so we're typing this out. And I said, that's all they're doing right now is building the songs around the N-word. And I typed the N-word out, expressing, my concern because
not a word you would ever use other than citing it, of course.
Correct.
Now, this guy, there's so many instances of this guy using the N-word, by the way, if you Google him.
But when you're having a conversation in Messenger, you have to type it out.
Right.
And so they found this and said, oh, look, he's a racist. He's using the N-word. And that was the narrative. And the New York Times picked it up, LA Times, Boston, everywhere suddenly because of the environment at that time.
Wow, so Mike, I don't want to let this slip because this is mind blowing. George Soros, who at the time of, I guess when this happened was 90, I think he's 92 now, 90-year-old George Soros obtained a private text communication that you had with someone else bemoaning the use of the N-word in rap music. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow, that is an incredible story. Oh, God.
They take it and they go, look, see, white guy writes out the N-word and he's a racist. And then, they just sort of cascade. And that's politics.
It's almost unbelievable, to be perfectly frank. I think many in my audience will struggle to believe that.
Well, it's what happened. And it was what was regurgitated by the California.
Are you guys struggling to believe it?
Republican Party a couple weeks ago as further evidence. And they said publicly in their meeting, anyone can look this up because it's all over the internet now what they did to me. But they said, how did this guy make it through the primary? We unendorsed him in 2020, and here he is again. And we're having to unendorse him again. I'm the only one in the country.
Just as a gut check, we're doing this when we speak to 2022 candidates, and it's a weird question to ask, but I hope you'll indulge me. Who is the real president of the United States right now?
Well, who's sitting in the White House? That's Joe Biden.
Right.
Was he there legitimately? I don't know. Let's find out. I'm on a lawsuit that's at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals right now. Our oral arguments will begin September 23rd. And we're asking to forensically audit 13 counties in California. Most important lawsuit in the nation.
Is it?
And I want to get to the bottom of this question because people go, he's not legit. He is legit. It was stolen. It wasn't stolen. Folks, nobody knows.
Well, but hold on a second, Mike. Let's see if we can break that down, though, because so nobody knows. We have results from California, right? The results from California are Biden got 11.1 million votes. Trump got 6 million votes. Overwhelming victory for Biden. Those are the results we have. In order to say we don't know, we should have some reason to question those results. What reason do you have to question the results that make you say, I can't be confident that we have the real numbers?
Well, David, if you were an Olympian and you ran a race and you got the gold medal, let's say you're like Usain Bolt. You ran this race, you got the gold medal.
Yep.
What's the first thing they do after you set that world record? They do a blood test.
Okay.
And they check to see if you have performance-enhancing drugs in your system.
Okay.
That's an audit. They do an audit of your bloodstream. Why don't we do the same thing with the greatest race in the world, which is the U.S. presidential election?
Well, I think one reason would be just the voter registration numbers in California are so lopsided towards Democrats that it's very hard to believe that there would be any real outcome there other than Biden easily winning. I mean, let me ask you a question. What do you suspect were the real results in California?
I don't know.
Okay, but it's a cop out to say you don't know. What reason do you have to question the results?
Thousands and thousands of affidavits that have been submitted to my co-plaintiff under, they notarized and, the charge of perjury if you lie on this.
The ballots were covered in performance-enhancing drugs.
That they saw things that were not right, conducted at a myriad of places, including the polling places, including ballot drop-off boxes. Nobody knows, and yet no one wants to look. And all I'm asking with my co-plaintiffs is, let's open the hood and let's actually see what occurred.
Okay, but when you look at the voter registration numbers, even if there were tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of these instances, right? California, only 24% of registered voters are Republicans. There's just no way Trump could have won.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that. Did you know this?
Okay.
There are 2.8 million more registered voters in California than there are citizens.
No, that is absolutely untrue.
We've got the data to prove it.
I hope you will send it to me.
My co-plaintiff is the Election Integrity Project California.
Okay.
And
listen, because I don't have, I've not seen that. I mean, send it to me. Send it to me. Every state in which it has been claimed that there are more voters than citizens, it has been debunked. And it seems in California it wouldn't be even close.
Has any state done a forensic audit?
Well, the states have done all sorts of evaluations and recounts and audits, but then someone always hold on, but Mike, hold on.
Yes, go ahead.
Someone then comes along and says, that's not the type of audit I meant.
No, they've done recounts. Nobody has done an audit.
In Arizona, an audit was done, and it found Biden got even more votes.
The Arizona audit was not done properly.
He doesn't like that audit. He means an audit. What he means is an audit that shows Trump won. That's what they mean by an audit.
What we're looking for is this. We have three things in our complaint.
Yeah.
Here's the ballot. I want to look at the envelope, and then let's look at the machine.
Okay.
They've had to look at the
I do some pillow trolling in a moment. I couldn't resist.
The images of the hard drives. We have the voter rolls, and let's compare all four of those.
All right. Well, let's do that. We're not going to be able to do it today. So in the interest of...
we can start today.
No, I mean, you and I won't be able to. Now, listen, I want to ask you something. There's this guy who my audience knows him as Mike Pillow. He's the CEO of My Pillow, Mike Lindell. But as a shorthand, we'll sometimes call him Mike Pillow or even just Pillow. Everybody knows who he is.
Sure.
He is obsessed with the machines, and he actually wants to sue every machine. Where are you on the machines?
Well, I think the machines need to be looked at.
Okay.
I think just like Dinesh D'Souza's movie with 2,000 Mules, the ballot drop-off boxes need to be looked at. One of the areas in our lawsuit is the Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. It's called the Guarantee Clause.
Mm-hmm.
And the federal government is supposed to guarantee that we are free from foreign invasion. But it doesn't say how the foreign invasion is conducted. And right now we have no safeguards in California election law to say China can't submit 30 million ballots, and we have no way to safeguard against it.
Can you imagine this line of reasoning?
When they, under the guise of COVID, have removed all the safeguards in place.
But Mike, do you have reason to believe China submitted 30 million ballots? It's very easy to say, I can't prove to you that it wasn't done. You can't prove to me it wasn't done. But do you have reason to believe China submitted 30 million ballots? I've seen no such evidence.
I don't need the evidence. I have the Constitution, which says...
He just needs hyperbole and conjecture.
Any law that allows China to do this is unconstitutional because it allows for foreign invasion, whether it's at the ballot box or the shoreline.
How can China submit 30 million ballots when you have to be an American citizen in order to even register to vote? How is that even possible?
Because you can do it through the ballot boxes. No verification needed. In California, you can have same-day voter registration. You don't have to vote. You can literally walk in on November 8th and say, I've never voted in my life before, and I'd like a ballot.
Right, but if you're walking in and voting, then you're an American citizen who is registering to vote. How is China doing that?
They can do it they can do it through the boxes, the drop-off boxes. See, they can't deny any ballot they receive up until the close of business November 8th.
Right, but then they look at it, and if it's not a registered, if it's not a citizen, then it's an invalid ballot.
How do they know it's not a citizen? There's no checks in place. You don't know. They're not even allowed to ask for ID. They don't know if you're a citizen, a non-citizen. In California, this is the thing. David,
but Mike, there were 17 million votes in California. Okay, just hear out the numbers. There were 17 million votes in California. Biden got 11, Trump got 6. When you talk about any one ballot box, and you talk about China and 30 million ballots and on, even if I grant you that every one of your thousands of affidavits is bona fide proof of some fraud, right? Bona fide proof. When the voting public is only 17 million people, how on earth do you think that they're going to be able to slip by this number of fraudulent, fake, whatever votes, and only a few thousand people submit affidavits? It's impossible to believe that.
Well, then would you join me in calling for an audit of the system? So
I see no reason to audit this. There's just the numbers don't add up. There's no reason to audit it.
No, if you won the gold medal, we would automatically audit the race.
Okay, well, there should be Olympic 100-meter dash is not voting. Did you have no? I mean, Mike, that doesn't make any sense. It sounds silly.
No, it makes total sense because any competition in the United States, if Tom Brady,
isn't this crazy?
Brady uses an underinflated football,
yeah,
we almost tear the country apart. Why don't we do that for the greatest competition in the land? Which
this
is
sounds
US?
So silly, though, Mike. It sounds silly. I don't know that this is going to win you the 35th district. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not trying to please somebody. I'm trying to say, let's get to the bottom of this issue so that we can all be comfortable with U.S. elections once again.
Most people are comfortable. That's the thing. When you poll people, most people are comfortable.
No, that's not true.
What poll do you have that suggests that?
Well, the poll of my district, and I can show you that by the amount of people who wait to go to the polling locations because they don't trust.
That's not a poll, Mike. Most people just vote on election day. That doesn't mean they don't trust another system. Listen, Mike, we don't have unlimited time. There's a really other important thing I want to ask you about because I read this about you. Do you believe that a satanic cabal is in charge of the United States?
I think there's a satanic cabal running the world.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
All right, let's pause there. We will pick up the interview. I'll show you the rest of the interview after Joe Biden's speech, okay? Because this is where it really gets nuts. And I actually say to him, why are all the satanic people you're mentioning black or Jewish? I actually say that to him in the interview, okay? So we're going to get to that a little bit later. Welcome, everybody. We are standing by for President Joe Biden. I want to say thank you to Bone Master J, C Missile, and GW Jumpman for their Twitch Prime subscriptions. Our friend S Prez just gifted 21 Twitch subscriptions. S Prez is the top gifter of subscriptions ever on Twitch at 1,061, if you can believe that. Also, thanks to Shot X Thomas, Heigl, and Your Billion, as well as Chaya Lalate, Regnera. Okay, thank you to all of those people. And over on my website, Adam Ellis, as well as Adam Bryant, have signed up for new memberships. And then Lisa Rader and Shamari Vasquez have gifted memberships. That puts us at 80. Folks, I will make this plea to you only once today. We are an independent media program. We primarily depend on people who get memberships on my website. One of the great benefits of being a member is we do an extra show for you every day called The Bonus Show. I'm not kidding. Alex Jones has denounced The Bonus Show.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money. Everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
I can think of no greater endorsement of what I am doing than Alex Jones thinking it is terrible.
Pac-Man's a loser.
So my request to you is get yourself a membership at joinpacman.com. We have the coupon code INDICT, which saves you big. And if you want to save even more, you can use the coupon code OBAMNA.
Obama.
But you have to spell it incorrectly. What I mean by that is OBAMNA, O-B-A-M-N, as in Nancy A, OBAMNA. And joinpacman.com is the place to do that. And I welcome folks' support. I will also, if we get to 100 tonight, be live on Saturday with the Donald Trump rally. I can only imagine with indictment pending that Trump is going to be on fire on Saturday. All right. Thanks to S Prez for gifting another 8 subscriptions, as well as Ace of Trace and Nikki for re-upping on Twitch Prime. Very much appreciate that. Super chats coming in. Mart says, aside from the Starbucks incident, how was your trip to Montreal? Did you get your fill of poutine? I actually did not have poutine on this trip. I just forgot, quite frankly. I forgot about poutine, which seems criminal. But I had lots of other great things, including St. Viator bagels and some great meals, and saw some great people. I met up with Canadian MP Anthony Housefather, one of the members of Parliament of Canada from the Liberal Party, and we had a great chat. And it was just a great trip. Great trip. David, hope you got to enjoy Montreal bagels. I did. As a New Yorker, I can vouch for them. Also, did you hear about the stolen Dominion machines sold on eBay? Just saw Donny cover it. I did not hear about that. That sounds wild. David, you're the man. Can you tell me what building this speech is in front of? I believe this is Independence Hall. Is that correct? Can anybody correct me on that and tell me for sure? I believe it is Independence Hall. Yes, no, maybe so. I'm Googling it now myself. Yes, it seems to be. Cody says, donating because the Pacman show, where he makes money to sustain himself, is good, but everyone else who wants to make money is bad. Completely agree. Completely and totally agree. Big thank you to Abe Baginski and Christopher Brandon, who also goes by Dark Brandon, is what I've been told, for signing up on my website, joinpacman.com. Very much appreciate that. Joe Biden expected quite literally any moment here. I believe CNN also will be covering the speech. Yes, indeed. We are standing by for Joe Biden. And I do think it's going to be very interesting to see how he takes on, remember, the whole semi-fascism thing. I think he's going to double down on that. I don't believe that Joe Biden is going to back away from that. Not even for a second. You have to go to Passé Composé for brunch in Montreal. It's insanely good. Oh, interesting. I've not heard of that place. Let's see. Montreal. Oh, yeah, this place looks good. They've got rural poached eggs. They're goose eggs. I can't say I've ever eaten a goose egg, but it sounds very interesting. Certainly something I would consider that very strongly. Thanks to Rosie Gomez for signing up at joinpacman.com. Folks, if we get to 100, we will have another stream Saturday, the Trump rally. Do you have Pacman approved super beta supplements I can buy? You know, unfortunately, I don't. All I can offer you is a membership and the bonus show. I don't really have anything like that I can sell you. Some people are maybe happy about that. I don't know. Yeah. I'm in Philly. Wanted to go see Dark Brandon, but I have too much planning for the canvas I'm leading on Friday. Any Philadelphians want a canvas? All right. Well, we don't know what you're canvassing for, but you can contact Schuperman if you're looking to canvas on Friday. Thanks to Smokin' Hulk Logan and Ian Not Eon for the Twitch Prime subscriptions, putting us at 95. We are moments away from President Joe Biden. After the speech, we will get back to my interview with Mike Cargile, where we get to the satanic portion of the speech, which I think is going to be nuts. Absolutely nuts. Thank you to Carl McKay for signing up on my website. And thanks to Martin Fillion for gifting a subscription, as well as Kevin Combs. That puts us at 98. 98. And we are getting dangerously close. Beth Graham has gifted a subscription and puts us at 99, quite literally at the stroke of the start of this speech. Let's listen. And indeed, Alyssa Fink is new member number 100 today. Alyssa, thank you so much for your support. Let's listen to the president expected to call out MAGA threats to democracy. Whoa. Wow.
My fellow Americans.
Oh, God, the voice.
Please,
not the
if you
voice.
have a seat. Take it. I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America. Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its Declaration of Independence to the world more than 2 centuries ago with an idea unique among nations, that in America, we're all created equal. This is where the United States Constitution was written and debated. This is where we set in motion the most extraordinary experiment of self-government the world has ever known. With 3 simple words: we the people, we the people. These 2 documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy, are the rock upon which this nation is built. They're how we became the greatest nation on earth. They're why, for more than 2 centuries, America has been a beacon to the world. But as I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise.
True.
So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation.
The right wingers are going to claim that this is satanic. What with the dark and red and oh my God, it's just wait until what you see tomorrow on right wing media.
And about the incredible future that lies in front of us if only we choose it. We must never forget, we the people are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago. We the people have burning inside of each of us the flame of liberty that was lit here at Independence Hall.
Dark Brandon.
A flame that lit our way through abolition, the Civil War, suffrage, the Great Depression, world wars, civil rights. That sacred flame still burns. Now in our time, as we build an America that is more prosperous, free, and just. That is the work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul. But first, we must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
Correct.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a threat to this country. These are hard things. But I'm an American president, not a president of red America or blue America, but of all America. And I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful. And here, in my view, is what is true. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election.
True.
And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies.
The lunatics.
Empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
Folks.
They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections. They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people.
A lot of screaming in the background.
This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people. That's why respected conservatives like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Ludwig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy. But while the threat to American democracy is real, I want to say as clearly as we can, we are not powerless in the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy. There are far more Americans from every background and belief who reject the extreme MAGA ideology than those that accept it. And folks, it's within our power, it's in our hands, yours and mine, to stop the assault on American democracy. I believe America is at an inflection point, one of those moments that determine the shape of everything that's to come after. And now, America must choose to move forward or to move backwards, to build a future or obsess about the past, to be a nation of hope and unity and optimism, or a nation of fear, division, and of darkness. MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies. But together we can choose a different path. We can choose a better path forward to the future. A future of possibility, a future to build and dream and hope. And we're on that path moving ahead. I know this nation. I know you, the American people. I know your courage. I know your hearts. And I know our history. This is a nation that honors our Constitution. We do not reject it. This is a nation that believes in the rule of law. We do not repudiate it.
Well, some of us believe in it.
This is a nation that respects free and fair elections. We honor the will of the people. We do not deny it. And this is a nation that rejects violence as a political tool.
Some of us do.
We do not encourage violence.
Lindsay does.
We are still an America that believes in honesty and decency and respect for others. Patriotism, liberty, justice for all, hope, possibilities. We are still, at our core, a democracy. And yet, history tells us that blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy. For a long time, we've told ourselves that American democracy is guaranteed, but it's not. We have to defend it, protect it, stand up for it, each and every one of us. That's why tonight, I'm asking our nation to come together, unite behind the single purpose of defending our democracy regardless of your ideology.
Please.
We're all called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power above all else. Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans. We must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy than MAGA Republicans are to destroying American democracy. We, the people, will not let anyone or anything tear us apart. Today, there are dangers around us we cannot allow to prevail. We here, you've heard it, more and more talk about violence as an acceptable political tool.
Too much.
In this country. It's not. It can never be an acceptable tool. So I want to say this plain and simple. There is no place for political violence in America, period. None, ever. We saw law enforcement brutally attacked on January the 6th. We've seen election officials, poll workers, many of them volunteers of both parties, subject to intimidation and death threats. And can you believe it? FBI agents, just doing their job as directed, facing threats to their own lives from their own fellow citizens.
That's MAGA.
On top of that, there are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets. This is inflammatory. It's dangerous. It's against the rule of law. And we, the people, must say, this is not who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. They're incompatible. We can't allow violence to be normalized in this country. It's wrong. We each have to reject political violence with all the moral clarity and conviction this nation can muster. Now, we can't let the integrity of our elections be undermined, for that is a path to chaos. Look, I know politics can be fierce and mean and nasty in America. I get it. I believe in the give and take of politics, in disagreement and debate and dissent. We're a big, complicated country. But democracy endures only if we, the people, respect the guardrails of the republic. Only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections. Only if we, the people, see politics not as total war, but mediation of our differences. Democracy cannot survive when one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win or they were cheated. And that's where the MAGA Republicans are today.
Yep.
They don't understand what every patriotic American knows. You can't love your country only when you win. It's fundamental. American democracy only works if we choose to respect the rule of law and the institutions that were set up in this chamber behind me. Only if we respect our legitimate political differences. I will not stand by and watch. The will of the American people be overturned by wild conspiracy theories and baseless evidence-free claims of fraud. I will not stand by and watch elections in this country stolen by people who simply refuse to accept that they lost. I will not stand by and watch the most fundamental freedom in this country, the freedom to vote, and have your vote counted and be taken from you and the American people. Look, as your president, I will defend our democracy with every fiber of my being, and I'm asking every American to join me. Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing that bullhorn.
Another protester.
I believe we can and must do that again. And we are. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power. But I see a different America. An America with an unlimited future. An America that's about to take off. I hope you see it as well. Just look around. I believe we could lift America from the depths of COVID. So we passed the largest economic recovery package since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And today, America's economy is faster, stronger than any other advanced nation in the world. We have more to go. I believe we could build a better America. So we passed the biggest infrastructure investment since President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And we've now embarked on a decade of rebuilding the nation's roads, bridges, highways, ports, water systems, high-speed internet, railroads. I believe we could make America safer. So we passed the most significant gun safety law since President Clinton. I believe we could go from being the highest cost of prescriptions in the world to making prescription drugs and healthcare more affordable. So we passed the most significant healthcare reform since President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act. Obama. And I believe we could create a clean energy future and save the planet. So we passed the most important climate initiative ever, ever, ever. The cynics and the critics tell us nothing can get done, but they're wrong. There is not a single thing America cannot do, not a single thing beyond our capacity if we do it together. It's never easy, but we're proving that America, no matter how long the road, progress does come. Look, I know the last few years have been tough, but today, COVID no longer controls our lives. More Americans are working than ever. Businesses are growing, our schools are open. Millions of Americans have been lifted out of poverty. Millions of veterans once exposed to toxic burn pits will now get what they deserve for their families and their compensation. American manufacturing has come alive across the heartland, and the future will be made in America. No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say, I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off, proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light. Light is now visible. Light that will guide us forward, not only in words, but in actions. Actions for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, for America. Even in this moment, with all the challenges we face, I give you my word as a Biden, I've never been more optimistic about America's future. Not because of me, but because of who you are. We're going to end cancer as we know it. Mark my words. We're going to create millions of new jobs in a clean energy economy. We're going to think big. We're going to make the 21st century another American century because the world needs us to. That's where we need to focus our energy. Not in the past, not on divisive culture wars, not on the politics of grievance, but on a future we can build together. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail. They believe America is not like I believe about America. I believe America is big enough for all of us to succeed. And that is the nation we're building, a nation where no one is left behind. I ran for president because I believe we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. I still believe that to be true. I believe the soul is the breath, the life, and the essence of who we are. The soul is what makes us, us. The soul of America is defined by the sacred proposition that all are created equal in the image of God, that all are entitled to be treated with decency, dignity, and respect, that all deserve justice and a shot at lives of prosperity and consequence, and that democracy must be defended, for democracy makes all these things possible. Folks, and it's up to us. Democracy begins and will be preserved in we, the people's habits of the heart, in our character, optimism that is tested yet endures, courage that digs deep when we need it, empathy that fuels democracy.
Yeah, there's someone screaming F Joe Biden, and they've been doing it for like 10 minutes.
Fellow Americans, look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been. Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there. They're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy. But history and common sense.
Oh, man.
Good manners is nothing they've ever suffered from. But history and common sense tell us that opportunity, liberty, and justice for all are most likely to come to pass in a democracy. We have never fully realized the aspirations of our founding, but every generation has opened those doors a little bit wider to include more people who have been excluded before. My fellow Americans, America is an idea, the most powerful idea in the history of the world, and it beats in the hearts of the people of this country. It beats in all our hearts. It unites America. It is the American creed, the idea that America guarantees that everyone be treated with dignity. It gives hate no safe harbor. It installs in everyone the belief that no matter where you start in life, there's nothing you can't achieve. That's who we are. That's what we stand for. That's what we believe. And that's precisely what we're doing. Opening doors, creating possibilities, focusing on the future. And we're only just beginning. Our task is to make our nation free and fair, just and strong, noble and whole. And this work is the work of democracy, the work of this generation. It is the work of our time, for all time. We can't afford to leave anyone on the sidelines. We need everyone to do their part. So speak up, speak out, get engaged, vote, vote, vote.
Wow.
And if we do our duty in 2022 and beyond, then ages still to come will say, we, all of us here, we kept the faith. We preserved democracy. We heeded our worst. We heeded not our worst instincts, but our better angels. We proved that for all its imperfections, America is still the beacon to the world, an ideal to be realized, a promise to be kept. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred, nothing more American. That's our soul. That's who we truly are. And that's who we must always be. I have no doubt, none, that this is who we will be, and that we'll come together as a nation that will secure our democracy, that for the next 200 years, we'll have what we had the past 200 years, the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We just need to remember who we are. We are the United States of America, the United States of America. And may God protect our nation, and may God protect all those who stand watch over our democracy. God bless you all. Democracy. Thank you.
Wow. Well, Dark Brandon Rising, a speech. This was designed to be a speech of rhetoric. This was not a policy speech. And many of you identifying that, a couple of different thoughts. First and foremost, making a lot of very accurate assessments of the decline of the Republican Party.
Joe Biden saying Donald Trump and his followers represent an
Okay. Yeah. Making clear how pathetic the right has become. Also, to some degree, I saw a super chat from Chris pointing this out. Maybe something to prepare the nation for the indictment of a former president. I don't think that that's a crazy assessment. When you say, listen, at some point, there are certain things that can't ever be ignored in the United States. Actual law and order, not whatever version of it Trump believes in.
If you care about law and order.
Right, law and auto. And maybe there is something in there about preparing the country for the indictment of Donald Trump, which would be quite a scene. Quite a scene. Folks, I promised you the rest of my completely insane interview with lunatic Republican Mike Cargile. Here's where we get into the demonic stuff. Okay, let's take a listen. And when you say that,
like Davos and the World Economic Forum,
who are some of the satanic individuals?
Well, you've seen a few of them already. They're not hiding it. You look at any high profile rap artist, from the Clinton camp. I believe Barack Obama has been involved in some of it. But you look at the Soroses, you look at the Rockefeller types. But
Mike, because sometimes people are so vague. Rockefeller type. So, let me just ask you, is George Soros demonically or satanically possessed?
I don't know.
You don't know. Is Barack Obama?
I don't know.
But you just listed both of them.
Have you ever asked them?
No, I've not spoken. I've never asked them anything. But who am I, right? But what I'm saying is,
I can only look at their actions.
And do you believe that their actions are evidence of satanic possession?
I don't know.
But then why are you bringing their names up?
Because they're trying to destroy humanity.
Okay. Who are the Rockefeller types you mentioned?
Well, you've seen them. I'm not going to get into name dropping right now. We'll deal with that later on.
Who will deal with it, though? It seems we would want to know. If you have the list, I want to know who these people are.
Well, if you would get me the Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell list, I could probably point to a lot of them.
Mike, I got to ask you a serious question here, and I hope you don't take offense. Are most of these satanically possessed people either black or Jewish? Because you're naming a lot of black and Jewish people.
I don't know their ethnicity.
You don't know Obama's ethnicity?
Well, is he? I don't know. What he claims to be one thing, but he's also claimed publicly to be another thing.
What do you mean?
Well, is he a U.S. citizen? Is he an African citizen? Is he? This goes back to the whole, birth certificate argument.
Oh my God.
I don't have an opinion on it. I just know that this man has presented himself to be one way, and then his actions were entirely another way.
Colorblind.
He's been the most divisive, hate-filled president we probably had ever had until Joe Biden, which is really Obama 3.0.
Wow. So you don't know what about Soros and Epstein? Did you know that they're Jewish?
I don't care.
You don't care.
I don't care what they are. I'm judging them by their actions, more the content of the character than the color of the skin. So that seems a very superficial argument to bring in.
Can satanic possession be cured?
Well, if you remove the possessor, I guess so, yeah.
How is that done, though?
Well, biblically, it would be through an exorcism or something of that nature.
Wow. That sounds extremely serious.
Well, are you demonically possessed?
Not that I'm aware of. Do I seem it to you?
No.
Oh, well, I'm just saying it sounds like an exorcism is very serious.
Well, I would say that anyone who's bent on destroying the human race is probably in league with the one that you would say is the enemy of the human race, and that would be Satan himself.
Wow. This is bumming me out, Mike. I'm not going to lie. This is a sad outlook. It's making me sad about humanity.
But look what just occurred, David.
Yeah.
We got assaulted by a virus and then a vaccine we were misled by. We've got a Green New Deal that's going to destroy and collapse the U.S. economy. Well, and that's just the U.S. Look at what's going on in Europe. Look at what's going on in Asia. It's a concerted effort to thin the world of humans.
Dear God. And then, but now on the other end of that, what's the goal? Why thin the world of humans? Who benefits?
Well, if you see people like you and I made in God's image as your enemy, well, then that's a victory for you.
You just get rid of the bad people, essentially.
And enough to have sort of an army of slaves, which is if you take communism at its truest form.
Here's where it got really crazy.
It's just a small group of people controlling a very large group of people through fear and dependency. So we're looking at a world of slaves that's being run by a few people. And they're okay. They seem to be okay with slavery as long as they get to be the new masters. Wow. And that's where your color component comes in, because it's really not color dependent. It's who gets to play the master this time around. And we have, I believe, more slaves now in the United States because of our open southern border and our ports of entry being wide open than we've ever had. And my opponent is one of the chief supporters of the wide open border, and I believe is responsible for a lot of the human trafficking that has come out of particularly Guatemala. But
well, Mike,
Central and South
listen, I have not seen evidence of that. I will investigate it. I have to say, in total honesty, some of this stuff is pretty out there, even for the Republican Party. So I sort of understand the unendorsement. This is some pretty out there stuff that you're saying.
But just saying it's out there doesn't mean it's not true. It just means you haven't come to terms with it
That's
yet.
absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct.
And I think we would all benefit if we would all call for three things, and that's that they would release the Jeffrey Epstein tapes,
okay,
and they would release the Ghislaine Maxwell list. You know,
okay.
how do you get charged?
I want to see that list. Sure.
I know, with human trafficking, but there's no perpetrators. You've got the victims, but you don't have the perps. And then just join me in calling for an audit of the election system so we can put the issue to bed. If Joe Biden was fairly elected, I would be the first guy to say, okay, now we've got our marching orders, let's fight against it. But if we're not going to look under the hood and see what happened, then we're supporting cheating.
Well, Mike Cargile, you've really said it all. We are going to be very closely watching that race in the 35th Congressional District, and I can't thank you enough for really giving our audience a lot to think about, a lot to chew on for sure. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on, David. Anytime. I'm an open book, and if you want to talk about anything, I think that's the greatest problem right now in the United States is where everyone's yelling at each other.
We must talk. We must talk.
We must talk, and we can disagree, but we need to do so with civil discourse.
Oh, wow. So that was it, guys. Pretty wacky stuff, not going to lie. And it'll be on YouTube. It's going to be clipped and all of that different stuff. Thanks to everybody coming in from TYT, rating us on Twitch. We were just looking at some really, really crazy interview after the Joe Biden speech. Those asking if Donald Trump is posting uncontrollably on Truth Central, he is not as of right now. So that is going to be the end of coverage today. I will be back with everybody. Tonight we had Dark Brandon Rising. And then on Saturday night, we will have Donald Trump. And we will hear from him. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. See you very soon. Make sure to follow on Twitch. Make sure to like on Facebook. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube to get notified of future streams. Pac-Man out.